Okay, so I want to tell a little story about this guy I used to know named Needham. Keith Needham. I knew Needham in the Army, another guy from my battery, 215. And this guy was about the worst wigger I've ever met in my life. If you heard my Sergeant Dumas story, you know a little bit about him. Like, he talked with a black accent, wore pants 8 sizes too big, thought he was a black guy from the hood when he wasn't black or from the hood. I mean, like, we knew he wasn't black, but maybe he was kind of from the hood. Maybe it was possible. But we didn't know because we didn't know anybody that was from his area, so we couldn't really verify it. He was from Virginia, like the Virginia Beach area over there, Newport News. Yeah, that. Then finally, we get this guy that comes to our battery named Harper. And we finally ask Harper, we go, hey, yo, bro, you're from Needham's area, right? Is he from the ghetto? And Harper starts laughing. And he's like, yeah, hell no, man. I know exactly where Needham's from. That motherfucker ain't from the hood. Shit. It's all like rednecks and shit in his neighborhood. There ain't even any black people there. So now we know he's not from the hood either. But it never stopped him from trying. And his nickname for himself was Inches, right? INCH apostrophe Z, I swear to God. This is his real nickname for himself.
Like, yeah, yo, I need him. My name Inches, yo.
This guy was like a real life living Malibu's Most Wanted, if you've seen that movie. Oh man, he gave Jamie Kennedy a run for his money. And like he had no sense of humor, right? He couldn't laugh at himself, no self-depreciating humor. And we'd make fun of him all the time, of course, and he'd always flip out and get mad. Like, I talked about this in my Sergeant Dumas story, but for those of you who haven't heard it, I'll reiterate. We're running a PT one day, and we get into it over something. And he starts fucking yelling at me like,
Yo, Levy, ain't talking shit to me, yo. Yo, I'ma fuck you up, man.
and I'm like, yeah, whatever, Needham. Shut the fuck up. Keep running.
And what the fuck you say to me, yo?
And then all of a sudden I go, uh-oh, angry black man on the loose. And everybody was just trying not to fall over laughing when they were running. And then I get back to the barracks, and this gets back to Sergeant Dumas. And he walks up to me and goes, Lee Brow, I will not tolerate racism in my platoon, Lee Brow. And I go, Sergeant Dumas, what racism? Needham's white. Oh, yeah, right. And he just kind of walks away without another word. Oh, man. This guy, right? He didn't really get in trouble at work. It was more the shit he did off duty. He never got in any real serious trouble, but it was little stupid things that he would do on the weekend. And the people he'd associate with, like he had this wife, right? He married his wife when she was 17. He brought her from Virginia to Fort Drum. And she was this little 17-year-old skank that probably fucked half the guys in Watertown. Little trailer park whore. But I guess it was canceled out by the fact Needham probably fucked half the girls in town. He wasn't the most attractive guy in the world, but back then he was just good looking enough by Watertown standards to get laid all the time. And he pretty much banged every skank in that town. Yeah, he was always out at the club. Apparently he was at Clueless, the local gay bar in Watertown. Place of legend among soldiers. Yeah, I guess he didn't care if anybody saw him there at Clueless. And, I mean, he did have some skills, I'm not going to lie. This guy was one of the best dancers I ever met in my life. We were in Iraq. We had a dance competition. I don't dance, period, so I just watch. But he gets up there, he's the first contestant, and he busts out a bunch of moves that were pretty impressive. Like, this guy probably could have been a professional dancer if he worked at it. And his routine was so good, he won by default. No one even tried to challenge him. it was over. And he was also pretty athletic. He was a good runner. He was one of only 2 or 3 guys in a battery that could beat me in the 2 mile run. He beat me almost every time. But outside of that, yeah. Yeah, he was mostly trouble. Like I said, small trouble. No DUIs, nothing big, but just enough that chain of command hated him. And his attitude and the whole Wigger thing, he was really immature. But he did do his job, which was kind of strange. He was actually a pretty decent soldier. And he was so decent that despite not liking him, chain of command sent him to the E5 board, and he passed and became a sergeant. And of course, everybody just talked shit about him all day. But I stuck up for him. I'm like, look, I think Needham's a good soldier. He might have his issues, but he's squared away at work. I think he deserves his sergeant. But I guess I spoke too soon, because literally like 2 or 3 days after he gets his E5, he loses it after falling asleep on the CQ desk, which means they really hate your ass, because almost everybody falls asleep on CQ. I've fallen asleep on CQ many times. You're sitting there 24 hours straight, of course you will. And all they do is just kind of poke you and say, hey, wake up, Levy. Come on, you're on CQ, wake up. And the NCO just walks away. You don't get in trouble. But they took his rank away for that, which means they were just looking for an excuse after he did other shit. And, yeah. He's one of these guys you tried to like, but it was just really, really hard. He did everything he could to make you not like him. Like, I remember this one time, again with the gangster shit, where we had gotten back from the field. We were there all day and night. We were all tired and cold, and we just wanted to go to bed. And apparently Andrews, this guy in the battery, was missing a pair of gloves. Just a pair of cheap gloves, whatever, replace them. He didn't even care. But Needham takes it as an opportunity to be like a tough guy and try to give people orders. And he goes,
Hey, yo, Andrews lost his gloves, yo. Ain't no one going nowhere until we find that shit.
and I look at him and I go, Needham, shut the fuck up.
What the fuck you say to me, Levy?
And then everyone else is like, Needham, sit the fuck down before he beats your ass. Leave Levy alone. And, yeah. The last time I heard, he's back in Virginia. He's like living in some trailer park or something. He has literally no teeth at all. I don't know if he smokes meth or what. But yeah, multiple people have told, and some people have actually gone to Virginia and hung out with him. And they're like, yeah, Needham has no teeth. It's confirmed. Ew. Ugh. It's disgusting. Ugh. But, yeah, that was my little story about this guy Needham. Keith Needham, who thought he was a big bad gangster. Black guy from the hood. Even though he wasn't black or from the hood. What a guy. What a fucking guy.